are live. Woohoo!
Yay!
All right, so I want to do that so that we can hopefully see the chat a bit better. Except it also means that I can't see you on the frame.
No, that's fine. You don't need to see me.
Well, you're kind of half there. Just want to make sure that we're okay. Hey guys, happy Halloween. Got a few people here so far. Woo! Okay, that'll have to work. Oh, and focus that. I need to bring the camera down. Hey guys, so just getting all the camera and stuff set up. Happy Halloween, everybody. It's like my absolute favorite time of year. We were gonna get dressed up, but then it's just been fucking crazy lately. See, I told you I'm bad at not swearing while on YouTube. So welcome. We'll get a couple more people into the room here. And we are going to just have a bit of fun, carve some pumpkins for no particular reason. All the kids are like almost done Halloween in our area anyways. And there's no kids in our building, so
thank God.
Thank goodness. I mean, this is the only time of year that I actually really enjoy seeing all the little guys dressed up, and it's kind of fun. But yeah, for 99% of the rest of the year, I'm kind of happy that it's nice and quiet where I live. So yeah, we're going to tell you guys about some of the stuff we've been doing lately, talk about going to kink conventions in general, because I think like a lot of people have kind of asked about that sort of stuff. We'll talk about like, I think just public kink overall. So like munches and kink conventions and all kinds of stuff. And of course, if you guys have questions, you know, put them up there and I will do my best to answer them. And we also have my lovely slave Sage here who can give the other perspective, because you
also
guys,
known as boyfriend.
Also known as boyfriend, yeah.
Just keep in mind that, you know.
Yeah, he likes to I don't know, assert his manliness somehow and be like, hey, it's cute.
What? Anyway,
but I know you guys really enjoy when he's in videos as well, so I wanted to drag his butt over here. So he's gonna carve a pumpkin. I'm gonna carve a pumpkin. I'm gonna say right now his is probably gonna be better than mine.
No,
he's the artistic one. So have you carved pumpkins before? You've done this, right?
When I was like 7. Like,
okay, I never gave up. Do you guys still carve pumpkins, like even as adults? Because I'm like, I never gave it up. I'm just, I don't know. I do Halloween, I do pumpkin carving, I do all of it. So, oh, hello from Iceland. Woohoo! I always get excited when people from Iceland are here, or from pretty much anywhere from the Scandinavian countries. But so you're gonna draw on yours, right? Yeah, I'm gonna
I don't
do
know
that
what
as
I'm gonna
well.
do
But
yet. Like, I don't know. Like,
okay, well,
do I just put a hole and be like, or something? Like,
not on YouTube. Want to get me totally demonetized? Oh, okay. So I see somebody asking about my leg. I'm doing, I guess, as good as could be expected. I still have my wheelchair. I will use a wheelchair probably for the rest of my life, but I'm doing well. Like, we're trying to allow me to maybe be able to stand on it a little bit right now. Like, anytime you see me standing up, I'm like on one leg, but we're working on it. I have, and I see from Denmark too, yay. But anyways, I have an amazing physical therapist and she's totally awesome, and we're working together really hard. My goal is to be able to take like maybe one step by Christmas. We'll see. I'll of course let you guys know if that is a thing that happens. So let's see. Oh, we've got the UK here. Oh, what designs are we thinking for our pumpkins? Yeah, we hadn't thought that far ahead. I'll probably go with maybe like a more high focus. Okay, there's apparently the camera just sucks. I'll probably go for a more classic pumpkin. I don't know what you're thinking. Oh, he's going for evil. Yeah, I'm so shocked and surprised. All the beautiful artwork that you guys have seen me post about, or if you're on Instagram, I post some of his artwork as well. Sage is an incredible artist, and I'll just plug his website right now. If you go to sagenoir.com, SAGENOIR.com, you can see, or Instagram, he's the same on there. You'll see all kinds of cool stuff. So, oh, okay. So somebody's asking if we do like the protocol and how our dynamic kind of works. Well, we don't have a lot of protocol. I'm not a high protocol kind of person for the most part. We sort of go back and forth. We had some rules in the beginning. A lot of things kind of got put on hold, and our whole world got turned upside down when I had the accident. So that's really messed with our dynamic. But we are working on sort of reestablishing, the way we want our relationship to be. And of course, Sage is a switch. So, that also adds to things. Now, I don't switch, so he's got another partner that he can, be a top and be a dominant with. When he's with me, he takes on the role of submissive, bottom, slave, whichever you want to say. I know that some people have a really strict version of what slave is. We use the word slave because we enjoy that particular word, not because it has any special connotation to us. But I know that it is like a separate thing from submissive for a lot of people. So I just want to acknowledge that. But yeah, he's very good. He's such a sweetheart. He looks after me. He always makes me cups of tea when I ask, which is, in my world, the most important thing that a submissive can do. I drink tea like it's going out of style. She's a teaaholic. I totally am. Some people drink booze and what have you. I'm all about my tea. I lead a boring life sometimes. Yeah, I'm gonna, when you're done with that, I'm gonna grab that so I can figure out what I'm doing with my pumpkin and then stab it.
Okay, so what knife is better to use?
I don't know. I just brought a bunch of them.
You brought a bunch? Hopefully not one of us cuts ourselves open. They were saying that the injuries caused by pumpkin carvings are gone up now.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Part of me is holy shit, am I gonna
Okay, there's his thing. Oh, he's got some warty things all over him, so perhaps we will do that. Hey, Chicago, awesome. I for some reason I really enjoy when people tell me where they're watching from. So guys, you can just tell me, because it's just cool to see where in the world people are. Let's see. Oh, any advice on dealing with kink shaming people in the scene? Yeah, that's a tricky one, because it really depends. There's a lot of kinks that are really, really acceptable, and then there's a lot of kinks that really aren't. We were just actually talking about this while I was at FearFest, which we'll tell you guys about in a few minutes. But I'm going to draw on the pumpkin while I talk about this. But yeah, we were talking about how, for instance, I do a class that's water sports and enemas, and it is, not very acceptable. And I have a hard time finding places that will allow me to teach the class, because it's such a sort of taboo kind of thing. So dealing with kink shaming coming from other kinksters, really, I think it sucks the most, because we expect it from, sorry, I think everything's going to be shaky because the camera and the laptop are sitting on the table with the pumpkins. But anyways, I think because we expect, our own kind to be more understanding in that. So it can be really hard when you are getting shamed for that. I would simply point out, first of all, the sort of universal kink saying, which is, your kink is not my kink, and that's okay. Because as far as I'm concerned, anything between consenting adults, as long as everybody understands the risks and knows what they're getting into, I don't see what the problem is. But, you know, obviously some people are jerks, and it sucks. So do your best to ignore them, first of all. And if it's like within your own community and you can't avoid them, then I would, yeah, I would just confront them. I would say, like, hey, you know, this is my kink. Like, what's the deal here? I do think that we have to be sensitive to other people. So I will, you know, point that out, that some kinks can be really, really offensive to a lot of people. And I have friends that are into kinks that can be very, very offensive. And so I think that it's a matter of, we need to be aware of these things, right? So, I mean, while I don't think any of us should be shamed for our kinks specifically, I think that if we are kinking in public, so like at a play party or whatever, we should also be considerate of others. So I'll sort of throw that in there. You know, what you guys do behind closed doors is up to you, but I think, yeah, once we take it out to the community, we do have to be careful. So it's sort of a like, don't kink shame, but at the same time, I mean, if our kinks are something that makes other people in the community really uncomfortable, especially when it's something along the lines of, say, race play, that can make a lot of people uncomfortable, and a lot of people that are already a minority within the kink community and are already marginalized in life. So I think that those kind of kinks we should maybe keep, you know, behind closed doors and maybe not do them at play parties. I mean, it depends on where you are and what the rules of the play party are. But yeah, so it's sort of like a little bit on both sides. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of those kinks necessarily. I just think that they're easily misinterpreted. So I don't know. That's a long, I just babbled for a long time about that. Do you have any advice on like kink shaming and how to deal with that within the community at all?
No, not really.
No, not really.
I'm gonna leave that one to you.
Okay. All right. So I have a whole bunch of people, like, I see Dallas, South Dakota, North Carolina, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. Right on. I was just there this weekend. So awesome. So let's see. I know why he wears a mask, but doesn't his tattoos give his identity away? Yeah, we're going with plausible deniability. You know, no, there just happens to be another dude that looks exactly the same with exactly the same tattoos.
But you know what? It's kind of funny because it probably is, like, with the tattoos that I do have, like, there's so many people that have like similar.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Well, like, I think unless you look really closely,
yeah,
you know, there.
And plus, most of the time I'm in like long sleeves anyway. Too,
yeah.
Other than like.
Well, when you're at work, yeah, you're in long sleeves. So, yeah. But yeah, I kind of giggle about it too. So don't worry, you're not the only one to notice.
And but also, like, if you actually do care enough to see what I look like go on my Instagram or FL or whatever.
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I missed a bunch of the chat because I'm seeing we can't force somebody to be into BDSM or be kinky. Yeah, absolutely. I think that, yeah, if we are in a relationship and our partner is in kinky or doesn't even share the same kinks, a lot of the time, then we have to look at other ways to get things satisfied. For instance, I love medical play, piercings, stuff that draws blood. It's a hard limit for Sage. So that's totally fine. I knew that when we got together. And so what we do is, if I really feel the need to poke holes in somebody, I will play with somebody else. I usually don't play outside of our relationship very much, just because I have no energy, and any energy that I have to play, it's usually with him. But sometimes, you just need to stab someone, and if he calls red on stabbing, then I gotta find someone else to suffer for me, which is fun.
Which is never really hard for you.
But yeah, I usually have no problem finding anybody. So yeah, we're gonna go with the classic pumpkin, and I have a little something to add to it later.
Oh, look at that smile.
Yeah, he's a happy. This is gonna be a masochistic pumpkin. Yeah, actually, he's going to have. Let's see if I can actually do this. I don't know why my pumpkin is a he, but it is.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
Woohoo! All right. Now I'm going to have to kind of stand up here, and also I'll be able to see some more. There we are. Things.
Brains.
Okay, so let me see. So somebody's asking about couples that do scenes with other people, but they're in a relationship of some kind. There's a huge amount of people who are poly in the kink community. We are poly as well, Sage and myself. And yes, jealousy is a thing. It happens for sure. I think that the big thing to remember is that communication is absolutely key.
It's paramount.
Yeah. Like,
for any success, you need to talk.
Yeah, but that is in any relationship, right? Like, you need to have good communication skills. And I think being poly kind of forces us to talk about things that maybe we wouldn't normally talk about. So things like expectations around how much time and attention should we be paying to each other? What's acceptable in that sort of realm? Whereas I don't think a lot of monogamous couples necessarily have that conversation. Now, I am not one of those people that thinks poly is better or more evolved or whatever than monogamy. I've been in both kinds of relationships. In fact, when we started out, we had agreed to be monogamous. And then, just for a series of things that happened, both my accident, Sage wanting to explore switching, a whole bunch of stuff kind of happened where we decided that it was appropriate to open up our relationship. Now, like I said, jealousy happens. I don't think that you will ever find a relationship where people don't get jealous. I just think that, we have to learn how to deal with it. We have to talk, and we have to, basically communicate that sort of stuff. So,
sometimes it also involves beating a dead horse, because, like reassuring your partner, like the person I'm seeing now, like I don't know, like they have a few other play partners that they see.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, like I beat the dead horse, being like, okay, so this is what it is with this person. This is what we are. But you know what's like, for me, I needed to hear it those times and kind of get that reassurance.
Yeah.
Right? And then once you get those little checks in the box and your reassurance on things that you need, like you can move forward. And again, like you have to, if you're feeling a certain way, it's always important to have an open discussion about it.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, this is.
And right away, not, sit on it and fester until you're like so angry or whatever, and you just explode. Like the first twinge of something wrong, that's when you have a discussion. For me also, I find that it's a lot easier to deal with, especially when we have a pretty much, I'm not seeing anybody else, he is kind of relationship, that I know the other person or people that he dates. And, obviously, we're together because we have a lot in common, and therefore any partner he chooses will probably have a lot in common as well. So in the current case, like I've met his partner, his other partner, and she's totally awesome. And I would have absolutely no problem, like just her and I hanging out. Because we could be friends for sure. And I think that we are becoming friends. We just don't know each other all that well yet. So yeah, it's definitely one of those things where you can make it work. It's not for everyone, right? I think that some people are just jealous to begin with, or they are just designed to be monogamous, and not necessarily both of those things in the same person. But yeah, if you are meant to be monogamous, if that's your sort of relationship orientation, then poly isn't going to work for you at all. Or swing or any of the open style relationships. I think we need to get some spoons. Could you grab us some big spoons, please, to dig this crap out? Thanks.
What a great idea.
Isn't it handy to have a sleeve around? But yeah. I'm just like playing with the pumpkin guts. I don't know why. It's just like, no, get metal spoons, honey. Like just the big spoons. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Oh, somebody says they like your mask. And okay, let's see. Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm seeing some people talking about swinging and that. I did a video about swinging versus sort of BDSM, but we didn't talk about it in the context of like versus poly relationships or other styles of open relationships. So polyamory is the idea that you can have multiple loves. Poly is many, and like amory or amorous or whatever is love, right? So it's the idea that we can have multiple loving relationships at the same time. And most of us are already familiar with the concept in that, I mean, I love my family. I love my dog. I love, Sage. So I'm capable of having all these different loving relationships. I don't understand why I would only be capable of having one romantic loving relationship at a time. But that's because I am programmed to be poly. Somebody who's programmed to be monogamous would probably be like, no, can't do it. And that's fine. There's absolutely no problem there. So there's also swinging, which I think gets brought up a lot in the context of BDSM, but it's totally a different thing. Swinging is, going out often to swing clubs and doing swaps with other couples or just having sexual contact with other people. And it's not necessarily relationships. I mean, certainly you could have friendships with them, but often it's couples that go and trade partners and that sort of thing. And I don't want to say too much about swinging because it's not something that I do, nor something that I'm interested in. So I don't want to get it totally wrong. And then, of course, there's various forms of open relationships. Swinging is one way of doing an open relationship. You can also have open relationships where, people are welcome to go and have sexual relationships with other people independently, but they don't have loving relationships with each other, or like more serious, like dating style relationships. So yeah, there's all kinds. Basically, if you can think of a relationship configuration, somebody's done it. I have friends that do, I think I can't remember exactly the terminology, but basically their polyamory involves many partners and there's no hierarchy, right? So it's not like, oh, you're my primary partner, you're a secondary partner or anything like that. They might have what they call a nesting partner, so partners that live together, but they don't assign a hierarchy to any of the other partners. Everybody is equal within the relationship. A lot of people into poly will have that hierarchy. So, oh, this is my primary partner, this is my, secondary partner, etc. And what those things mean can be completely different in every relationship. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. So when people say something like, oh, I'm polyamorous or I'm in an open relationship or whatever, you do need to sort of probe and find out what does that mean to you. It's pretty much like any other BDSM identity or any of that kind of stuff. The question, what does that mean to you, is really important. And it's about the only way you're going to figure out, what people actually mean. So I hope that sort of helps out a bit. I'll definitely do a video on poly and things like that because it is pretty common. Oh yes, another sort of configuration, again, similar to what we have, would be the mono-poly relationship where one partner is monogamous, the other partner is polyamorous. And so there's all sorts of setups, and people can have those for whatever reason. I know that sometimes people are like, oh, well, if you're monogamous and he's polyamorous, like that's unfair. And it's like, well, for us right now, that's what works because I'm dealing with my health issues. which I'm going to talk about again, because I know I said that in the beginning, and then there's other people that are asking here. But, you know, I'm dealing with health issues, so I don't have time for another relationship. One is more than enough for me right now. So let's see. Yeah, BDSM is, I mean, like you guys know, if you've watched any of my videos before, it's all about communication. So yeah, just, I think, like, I mean, I always feel bad when people ask me questions and I'm like, you need to communicate. And that's always my answer, but it's true. And yeah, I'm totally going to roast the seeds because it'll be yummy, and they'll probably end up in like some homemade granola or something like that.
Gross.
Yeah, he doesn't like granola.
I like granola.
So,
It's just the when I'm not going to go there.
Okay, so somebody's asking, what do you do when your partner's vanilla and not willing to bring other people in, and it's a serious relationship? So that's a tough one. Okay, so you have a few choices. You can find ways that you can indulge solo. So if it's, say, a kink for cross-dressing, you know, you can dress on your own when your partner's not around if they don't want to be around that, and that's totally fine. You know, you can indulge that way. You can indulge through pornography if that's okay within your relationship. I know for some people, porn can be like a sticking point. You could, again, if it is okay within your relationship, engage services like cam girls or cam boys, that you can interact with another person, but there's no physical interaction, it's just online, and indulge your kink that way. If none of those things are going to work, then you really do need to sit down and make a decision. You have to say, what is more important, my relationship or my kink? Because if you cannot figure out a way to have both of those things, you're going to have to make a choice. And I'm not going to say that that's an easy choice, and because I can't even imagine, to be honest with you. I cannot imagine having to make that choice, because to me, kink is such an important part of my identity. That's how I express like affection and that kind of stuff. Like I've talked about it before, I'm not really into sex necessarily, but I share intimacy with my partner through BDSM. So you need to decide if that's where you're at. If it's that important, maybe you need to think about ending the relationship. And again, when it's a serious relationship, I know that's really hard. The other option is, you know, to just not indulge your kink. You know, and for some people that won't be too hard. For other people that may not be possible. So it's a tough one. There's no easy answer there, and I'm really sorry. I wish I had a better answer, but there's really no easy way to go about that. Sorry. Okay. Somebody is asking about, do we get a check for like HIV and stuff like that? Yeah, absolutely. I think that especially if you're in a relationship where you have multiple partners, and multiple sexual partners, because there is some people will have play partners where there's no sexual contact versus some where there will be sexual contact. But yeah, absolutely. When I am sexually active, which isn't all that often, but if I'm in a phase where I am sexually active, I absolutely get tested, usually every 6 months or so. It depends on sort of, you know, I don't engage in a lot of high risk activities, sort of, but I'll get tested every 6 months. We also have rules about barriers, you know, so condoms and things like that need to be used. And I think that it is really important to, first of all, even if you aren't in multiple relationships, you should know your status, because it's really, really important because then if you have something, an STI, you can treat it. If you have something that is, you know, not curable, but that you can live with, you can treat it. It's really, really important to know your status. But yeah, we get tested, and something else, if you are a blood player or anything like that, you should know that hepatitis C is not part of your regular STI panel. It's not an STI at all. So if you are into playing with blood, you will need to specifically request an hepatitis C test, because they won't do it automatically. So But yes, absolutely, I think it's important for everybody to know their status and get tested on a schedule that works for their particular risk level. I think I have, yeah, I've got pumpkin goo on my boobs. Oh, what are your views on the legalization of cannabis? Yes, I am Canadian. We did legalize cannabis on what, the 17th, I think 17th, it was?
Yep.
Yeah. I think that it's probably about bloody time, to be honest. I don't like the way they've gone about it. It just doesn't seem like the right way to me. But that said, it doesn't really affect me. I don't partake myself. Neither of us do. We are, to be honest with you guys, we're pretty straight edge. We don't really drink all that much. We don't, smoke or indulge in recreational substances. But at the same time, I don't think anyone should go to jail for that stuff. It's kind of ridiculous. I really don't view, smoking a joint any differently than drinking a beer. So if I can sit down and have a beer, somebody else should be able to sit down and smoke a joint. As long as they don't do it near me, because I don't like the smell. But, and then we've also had in Canada, we've had medical marijuana for quite some time as well. So that's also a thing that I think should be legal. But I've done a lot of work in the past in harm reduction. I've spoken at harm reduction conferences and stuff like that. And so I lean much more towards the legalization, or at least decriminalization, because those are two different things, of most drugs, so that, people can get the help that they need if they have addiction issues, and so that people who are just having a good time every now and then don't end up in jail and with a criminal record because of it. But I try not to bring too much of my politics onto the channel, but I'm more than happy to talk about that kind of stuff if that's if my opinions on those things are something you guys are interested in. Yes, I'm sorry, I haven't been around all that much lately. I've just I hit a wall. I had to do a lot of appointments regarding my health stuff. I finally got to go and see a specialist on the disease that I have, the nerve disease that has caused me all these problems. And that has just really taken up a huge amount of my time and an even bigger amount of my energy. It's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster. So I haven't felt up to doing YouTube, unfortunately. And I really missed all you guys, and I just had to take a bit of time off for me. And I know I've done that a whole bunch lately, but yeah, it probably will happen again. I'm not going to say it's not gonna, but I'm going to try to get ahead of myself in filming videos, so that if I do end up in a place
finishing that book.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I have a book that I need to finish. But yeah, I'm going to try to get ahead of myself, so that if I do need to take another break, I can, without, leaving you guys hanging. So yeah, I hope the USA catches up as well with a lot of things. I was really happy to see that you guys, I think it was 2 years ago or something like that, that you guys finally got, marriage equality. So that's kind of awesome. We've had that here in Canada for quite some time now. Oh, apparently the screen is doing some weird flashy thing. I'm not getting it on my end, so I'm sorry, guys. I'm not sure exactly what that's about. All right. Yeah. Oh, okay. So explaining to a partner about being a little and a masochist and stuff like that. I think it's hard when somebody doesn't have those feelings themselves, right? The best you can do is find the way that you are the best at communicating, right? So if that means writing stuff down, even if you write it down and then read it to them, I've done that before, but just, yeah, it's really hard to explain. because I think a lot of the times we don't always understand ourselves why we feel these things, right? I couldn't explain to you exactly why I enjoy causing consensual pain to other people. I just know that I do. So it's hard, and to then express that to somebody else and have them understand can be really tough. And I think especially if you are trying to explain something like masochism, where you're like, hey, I want you to do these things to me that normally you would never do to another person. That can be really hard, and explaining why you want those things done. So definitely open to, if any of you guys out there have advice, please like throw that in there. But I'll definitely, I'm gonna think about that one too, and see what we can come up with, because it's a toughie. Do you have any advice on how to explain to somebody, like perhaps a vanilla partner? I know you've dated a few vanilla folks, about why you need what you need.
Well, after my first vanilla thing, I just stopped looking at vanillas because
Yeah, well,
honestly, like, they're great. And you know what? Like, they can be the greatest person, but if you, once you've explored, you know, certain things like in BDSM or whatever, and you like it and it's something that you need,
yeah,
it's very
it's
hard.
really hard.
And you know what? Dating in general is hard, but when you have this other stuff
Yeah,
that you have to deal with,
yeah,
you know, the dating game becomes so much harder, because it's like, well, you want someone who's compatible with you vanilla, right? You know, someone that
yeah,
shares your interests to a degree, and then you know you have to have the BDSM compatibility, right? So it's kind of like, it's hard. So after a few like vanilla things and people are like, oh, I'm not into that, and they weren't really willing to explore it, then it's kind of like you have those decisions that you
yeah,
got to make, right? You know, it's like, do you want to continue on with that, or you know,
yeah,
find someone who will?
yeah. And I just want to point out too that it's perfectly okay for vanilla people to not want to explore BDSM, right?
Yeah,
I mean, like,
absolutely.
we're all here because we're kinky, but not everybody is, and we need to respect that, right? We want to be respected for what we like. So
Yeah, and the thing is you don't
but
want to be pushy, right? Because like, I know, like, me personally, like, I hate when people are pushy with me, and I don't share that, and I don't want to push anyone into
yeah, that's like the
anything.
best way to get me to not do something.
Yeah,
Just push
exactly.
me.
Well, exactly,
Right?
right? So, you know, like, it's great if they're, you know, curious or they're willing to do it, then fine, you know, take it slow, baby steps. But yeah, otherwise it's, you got those decisions you got to make.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Like, I know that it's a tough spot to be in. I'm not gonna say otherwise, right? It's hard, but yeah. Again, just work on your communication skills is a big thing. So, uh, okay. We're in the same costume. Yeah, I was gonna get all dressed up today, and then again I just sort of ran out of spoons. So unfortunately I didn't. I had a really cool I made some prosthetics to like do a skull thing, but they're sitting over in my living room, and I just didn't have the energy right now. So that kind of, oh well, it is what it is, right? Oh, here's a fun one, because why not? Let's see. I've seen philosophy books on your bookshelf. Do you like philosophy? Have you learned it perhaps by yourself or in an academic setting? I actually, the first time I went to higher education, I went to university and I got a double major, because I'm a giant geek, but I did philosophy and cultural anthropology. And so I actually have a BA in both of those things. So yeah, I spent a lot of time, 4 years at university, learning about all of that stuff. So yeah, I absolutely love it. I particularly, if I can speak, love both political philosophy, and ethics. So I read a lot of like Locke and Kant and of course Machiavelli and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. I haven't read a lot of it for quite some time now, but it is something that I really enjoy when I get a chance to be geeky and indulge in that sort of stuff. So let's see, what else do we have here? That's awesome. Thank you. The comment here is, I wish you had a 911 phone for BDSM emergencies. That would be the coolest thing. I don't know how we would manage that, but it would be kind of awesome. I could see a lot of interesting stories coming from such a thing. So I had actually, yeah, let's talk about what we did over the weekend, perhaps. So you guys know that I'm always saying, oh, get out into your community and stuff like that. I do practice what I preach. So we were out at an event called Fear Fest in Cincinnati just recently. If you are from that area, I highly recommend checking it out. It was a ton of fun. And it's an edge play event. So edge play is basically just like play that is more dangerous in general. So stuff like I taught a class on suturing, and we talked about play piercing. There was classes on whips, on fear play, and it was awesome. I also was able to film some video while I was there, which is really nice. And video, for the record, is not usually allowed at conventions. They had a separate time and space where I was allowed to do a bit of filming. So don't worry if you are, wanting to go out to these kind of things and you're worried that you may, that there may be video or anything. It's an anomaly. There usually is not any kind of video at events like this. But yeah, so we've got a bunch of videos with people that I spoke to at that event that I will be posting soon. Yeah, so it was really cool. There was classes all day long. There were vendors there, so you could buy all sorts of kinky things. And then in the evenings, there were kink parties, so you could go and get your kink on. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I just recommend that event specifically, because I had a blast, but any kink event, get out to your community and check some of this stuff out. And you can learn to do some of these things safely or, at all, if you are unsure about how to do things. And it's, a chance for us to go into obviously more detail than I can here on YouTube. And they do live demos and stuff like that. So it was super fun. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I've never been to Ohio before. It was my first time anywhere in Ohio. And I have to say that people were super, super friendly. It was such an amazing experience. We really, really enjoyed it. I could deal without the 12-hour drive, but it was awesome otherwise, right?
We got to see drive-through beer stores.
Oh yeah, we got to see a drive-through beer store.
Yeah, that's like
I was blown away. Apparently everybody there was just like, yeah, those are a thing.
Drive-through gun stores.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those yet. I think we got to go to Texas for that. But yeah, we don't have drive-through beer stores. So
actually, apparently we do.
Oh wait, yes,
London.
Oh, in London.
I think it was either
Ontario,
London.
not in the UK.
I was talking to somebody.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to go on a mission, even though I really don't drink alcohol all that often, to find drive-through beer stores. But so yeah, I think I babbled along about that. Okay, yeah, somebody's actually pointing out, that they're not into recreational substances either. A lot of the kink community is we don't partake. You know what I mean? It's because we're doing dangerous things. often drinking is not allowed and other substances are not allowed. And so you will find that a lot. And I think that, I mean, certainly not all kinksters, a lot of kinksters will, have a drink or two outside of events and when they aren't playing. But you will find, I think, probably more people that don't indulge in substances or any of that kind of stuff within the kink community than you will in any vanilla setting. So if you are somebody that is sober for whatever reason, you don't have those same pressures. Because I know as a person that doesn't drink a lot, I do occasionally have a drink, and we may have one in a little bit tonight because it's Halloween. But I can usually count on one hand the amount of times I drink in a year. But that can be a little awkward in some places because drinking is just expected. And so it's nice to have that within the kink community where I can go and no booze is allowed. So I know that I don't have to worry about people, bugging me to have a drink with them or
so annoying.
Yeah, or that kind of thing.
Have a drink, man.
Yeah. Well, and I always try to be respectful because people are allowed to make whatever decisions about their lives that they want. But yeah, it gets really annoying when they're bugging you to drink when you've politely said no. So, but yeah, that's something to really keep in mind too, is that a lot of kink parties, I mean, obviously the big fetish night type parties, they often have a lot of drinking involved, but play parties very rarely do. Yeah, a lot of people are saying here, I won't even go to a party with alcohol anymore. Yeah, it gets annoying. It sucks to always be the sober one. So, you're automatically the driver and everything else, and then have to put up with all of your friends who think they're way funnier than they are when they're drunk. Yeah, my friends are not funny when they're drunk. So, but when I'm drunk as well, they do become far more amusing. So, oh, yay. Somebody just got one of my books in the mail. Awesome. Thank you very much for picking those up. I've got 2 books out and another one coming soonish that I've been supposed
January.
to. January. I'm supposed to have finished it last year. Guys, the struggle is real. I'll
do my best to keep at her.
Yeah, if you're having a hard time finding a local community, definitely FetLife. It's not the greatest website in the world by any stretch, but you can find a lot of good munches and your community there. That's okay. So yeah, definitely FetLife.com. It's free. You have nothing to lose. Just check out the event section. So let's see. Oh, I see people from Tucson perhaps realizing they're both here or something. Yeah, there is a kink community pretty much anywhere. If you are in Europe, Canada, the States. I did not find much of anything when I was in Mexico. That's not to say that it doesn't exist. That's to say that I, A, didn't look all that hard, and B, don't speak enough Spanish to actually, communicate delicate information like that. But I don't think there's a ton of stuff going on outside of DF and Guadalajara and places like that. So I haven't been to other parts of the world, so I can't really say. My experience is Canada, US, and part of Central America and Mexico. So I have also worked in a bar as a non-drinker or a very rare drinker. And it's a little uncomfortable. And people are like, oh, let me buy you a drink. And you're like, no, I don't drink. And then they're like, why do you work here? So somebody's got to do it right. I wouldn't say FetLife is risky for searching for munches. I think that you just need to kind of be aware that there are a lot of assholes on FetLife. And you just have to ignore people coming into your inbox and demanding things. But but yeah, as far as like finding events and stuff, that's pretty much what the website is good for. The forums are good as well, depending on where you go. The novices and newbies group is pretty decent. I am friends with one of the fellows who run that group. Like real life, he lives not far from me. He's come out to a couple of my workshops and is a totally awesome person. So there is that. I like that particular group and would like it even if I wasn't friends with one of the mods. But yeah, you do have to be careful. It just, I wouldn't meet up with people necessarily from the site, but I would use it to find munches. Munches are going to be like, they are generally the safe activity. I mean, it's people hanging out in a bar or restaurant or whatever. I know in Europe, often they're held in bars. In Canada, usually it's like a restaurant that or a pub that also serves like food and booze. And in the States, I believe it's often just like restaurants, coffee shops, pubs, pretty much anything where people meet. Yeah, Katrina, I hear you. Not getting invited places because you don't drink. That kind of sucks. Yeah, we get that a lot because we just are, again, are not big drinkers. But yeah, so there's that. Again, kink community is really fantastic for that because there's not a lot. Well, I mean, some people still drink, but kink events are usually dry. So that is a bonus. Apparently your pumpkin needs spikes as well.
Yeah.
I have to say I might agree with that. Yeah. I would highly suggest Doralee. I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but yeah, if you get the chance, like go out, do it. Kinky people are super friendly for the most part. And we tend to be really welcoming of new people. So that's really kind of awesome. You will hopefully be welcomed, and especially if it's something for like new people, they're going to have, they're going to put their best foot forward and have their friendliest kind of people. So let's see here. Oh, on that note, I should talk about what I am doing this weekend because the fall is like the busiest time of year for me. So this weekend I am, do I have anybody from Toronto or the Toronto area in the chat room? Let me know if you are from my general area. But I am doing an event called the Taboo Everything to Do with Sex show this weekend. For those of you who are not from this area and don't know what it is, it's a big trade show. We take over one of the local convention centers, and we will have probably, I think it's like 100 or 150,000 people walk through the door over the course of the weekend. And I'm going to be there teaching BDSM classes and having a little booth and selling some books. And this was supposed to post on all of my social media a few days ago, but of course that didn't work out. So if you are interested, if you are in my area and you want to go to the Everything to Do with Sex show, go to my website, msmorganthorne.com, and right at the top, you will find the entry form. Enter and you can win free tickets. So hello from Sweden. Awesome. So and yes, so anyways, I do the show every year. And it is my vanilla outreach. Okay, so I get to go and I get to talk to all the people that really enjoyed 50 Shades of Grey, and talk to them about how 50 Shades is a cool fantasy, but if we want to get into BDSM and do it safely and do it consensually and stuff like that, then there are a few things that we need to look at. So it's sort of like, I do this every year. I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's completely exhausting. And for those of you, any other Canadians I have in the room, if you are not from Toronto, I will also be doing the show in Montreal this year. And we're hoping next year.
2019.
Oh, sorry, yeah, 2019. It's in January. And I'm also hoping the following year to and head out towards the West Coast and do Alberta and BC because they've got shows out there as well. So I'll keep you guys posted, but yeah, it'll be fun. So All right. Okay, so I'm just kind of like, yeah. Somebody's saying even when they were vanilla, they knew that 50 Shades wasn't the way BDSM is, and it's not. And I mean, there's nothing necessarily wrong with 50 Shades if we look at it as a fantasy, because that's what it was intended to be. It's just a fantasy. But it's when we try to take lessons from it on how to do kink, right? So yeah, everyone's wanting to see the pumpkins, and I'm like sitting here talking and not carving. I need to. It needs another thing. I need to stab it in the side of the head. And then we will do our grand reveal.
Oh God.
How's yours coming out? It's pretty good. His is definitely better than mine. I am not surprised. I'm the writer. I do not have artistic talent. That is not me. Well, I guess that's not totally true. I like photography because I don't have to draw anything. But I really do enjoy photography. For the record, the picture that was the sort of thumbnail for this live stream is a picture that I took when I was in Mexico. I was there for Dia de los Muertos, and so that was one of 3 cemeteries that I visited while I was there. That one was like really quiet and abandoned, which was very odd because the other 2 that I went to, the one had a carnival outside, like vendors with stuff like a Ferris wheel carnival. The other cemetery was where everybody was like, we wandered around and they had mariachi bands because you can hire the band to play a favorite song for your loved one. And everybody was, you know, I think it's micheladas that they drink, which is like tomato juice and beer. It was really gross. I tried one. Hi, Wolfie. Are you helping? No, you leave that, please. So that was really cool. And then, yeah, I went to this 3rd cemetery and it was empty and it was so weird. So I was like, it was 2 a.m. in Oaxaca City and I'm wandering around by myself taking photos in a cemetery. May not have been the smartest thing I've ever done, but it was awesome and I got awesome photos. So, and I can't wait to go back because I love Mexico. So, all right. Oh, where's Wolfgar's pumpkin? No, he would just eat it because he will eat everything. So, okay. Oh, awesome. Steph's going to the show out in Vancouver. Very cool. My nails natural. That's a funny one. No, they are acrylic. Yes, they are quite strong because they're acrylic, and I make sure that they don't come off. So yeah, I do them extra strong just because I know they're going to take a lot of abuse. But yeah, no, I wish they were natural at that length, but no. Oh, okay. Elizabeth, are you asking about like people that sort of have that attitude of, hey, look at me, I can, I'm more hardcore than you kind of thing? I see that sometimes. We see that sometimes, usually with new people. People that are within the, thank you, we'll just do that so that I don't end up with pumpkin guts all over my face. That's what I wanted to do. Shut up. Are you ready? And then I'll answer the question, or do you need a few minutes?
I'm not ready.
Oh, okay, fine. I'm going to turn that so that it's not in my face. So people that, yeah, what you'll find is that people who are new sometimes, not always, obviously, will sort of have that attitude of, oh, I'm the toughest, I can take the most pain, I can give the most pain, I can whatever. So you see that sometimes. Usually within the community, though, you will have the people that have a reputation for being like a really hardcore masochist. We have one amazing woman in the Toronto scene that is so well known as a masochist. In fact, she's known for breaking toys with her ass, basically, because people, tops, doms, will play with her, and she likes such an intense level of play that people end up breaking their toys on her. And so she certainly has a reputation within our community. It's a very positive one. Please don't think otherwise. And she's a very lovely lady. So yeah, that happens sometimes. But usually the people that seem to think they can take a lot of pain, I used to get that a lot when I was pro-doming regularly, and I would get clients that were like, I'm so tough, I can take anything you can dish out. And then they'd be calling red during the warm-up. So that's always an amusing thing. But yeah, it happens sometimes. And usually I just try to ignore those folks because it's a little annoying. I mean, like, people can take the level of pain that they can take, and that fluctuates, and it's not a competition. I was explaining to Sage that I don't mind bottoms who can't take a lot of pain, because I don't have to work as hard. Basically, I can get that same reaction. I want the reaction from them, but I don't have to kill myself in order to get it, you know, as far as like energy goes and stuff. So yeah, it's Peel region scene is very active. West GTA group, awesome. Oh yes, I'm just trying to think of what we've got in Peel region, Katrina. Because I know I just went to the Newmarket Munch recently. That was all right. I don't know if that's Peel or not though. Is that?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Are we in Peel?
No. This is Simcoe.
This is Simcoe. Okay, we're in Simcoe.
Simcoe County.
But there's a bunch of stuff there, West End. Yeah, I know there's a West End Munch in Toronto. I know there's some stuff in like Brampton and a bunch of other places. So I don't know if it's any good. I haven't been out to a lot of them, but yeah, the Newmarket Munch was all right. The Barrie Munch is okay, which is again Simcoe, not Peel, but there is some stuff around. It's just hard to find the good stuff, right? So let me know if you do find any good stuff in Peel, because that's not too far from me. Oh, thank you, Jordan. And Steph. Yeah, I like having super long, super pointy nails. And then saying, hey, who's up for some fisting? Yeah, not him. Oh, thank you guys. You are so sweet. Yeah, the syringe I actually just got at the dollar store. And it's a pen, but I had to see it. How does that work? Yeah, there we go. It's a pen. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I thought it was adorable. Oh wait, that's his eye. There we go. I'm just gonna do that. How to organize a munch? Yes, I will totally do a video about that. One of the people that I spoke with in Ohio was the organizer of the event, and we touched on how to get involved in organizing stuff. But I will definitely do a dedicated video to how to organize a munch. And I'm going to write that down so that I don't forget, because I've been meaning to do it for a long time. Yes, I have a pen. I don't have paper though, dear.
Write it on your hand.
No, I'll write it on you.
Write it on your hand.
No, here, give me your arm.
Could you make it any bigger? Like, seriously, woman.
Thank you. And yes, I could have.
I'll get you back.
No, you won't. I know where you sleep.
I know where you sleep.
That is true. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, Peel, Brampton, Mississauga, Caledon. Awesome. Well, Katrina, definitely
I think there's a Brampton one.
Yeah, there's definitely a Brampton munch. Definitely enter into the contest and come out to the Taboo show this weekend. Because I know the community dungeon will be there and they'll have reps from all of the munches within sort of the GTA. And so hopefully we'll have folks that can
yeah, because there's
point you in the right direction at least.
I know there's like, I know it's not Mississauga, but there's also there's the Etobicoke munch as well.
Yeah.
And there is a Mississauga munch, I believe, and the Brampton munch, I believe, is actually out by I think it's actually like held out by the Square One Mall, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. I think we were planning on going to that
I'm
one
pretty
time,
sure
right?
there's like a pub or something nearby that they actually have it there. So, and at least in my memory, that used to be there. It may have changed since then, but I'm pretty sure it's still there.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good to know. But yeah, definitely come out and we'll see what we can find. Oh, okay. So again, people are asking about like health stuff. Just to recap, I mentioned earlier, so I don't want to like bore you guys with it, but I'm doing a lot better. Steal my idea. I'm doing a lot better. I will use a wheelchair for the rest of my life at this point. We are fairly certain. But I am working with my physical therapists and my doctors and everything to get the pain and everything else under control. We aren't sure what sort of long term. I may be able to walk a small amount, probably not a lot, which is why I say that I will probably be using a wheelchair for the rest of my life. But we're figuring it all out, which is the important thing. I've managed now to get out camping and go do a bit of traveling and stuff like that, which is the things that are important to me in life. So as long as I can do that kind of stuff, like we're all good. We're working our way through Central America, doing trips down there before the accident, and that is something that I feel really passionate about. I really love it in that part of the world. So I'm hoping to get back at some point soon, but accessibility in that part of the world is like non-existent, right? So that's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I will definitely keep you guys updated. Unfortunately, with the nature of my injuries and that, I will have pain for the rest of my life, but I already had chronic pain. So it's just like adding to it. But that also means that my mood kind of goes up and down. And my energy levels tend to be fairly low. So if I disappear the way I have recently, it's usually just because I've run out of spoons and I need a bit of time to sort of recharge the batteries and then get back at it. So that is like the quick version of what's going on with my health stuff right now. But yeah, I love that you guys care. I love that you guys ask about it. Like, thank you so much, because it shows me that you guys care about me, and that's a pretty amazing feeling. So I'll definitely keep y'all updated and let you know what's going on with that as things improve, because damn it, they're going to improve. I'm very, very stubborn. So if anyone can do this, I will. So oh, okay, cool. Katrina says, love Square One. It's good to know. So yeah, always good to help people find munches and stuff. You guys are awesome. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to read the comments. It's like, here, watch a video of me trying to read shit off a screen that's far too far away.
I could totally make a joke about that, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I'm old.
I'll trade you in for the newer model.
Yeah. Oh, the Netherlands too. Okay, why don't we here, you get a candle, I get a candle, and then we'll turn off the lights. Here, you gotta pull the little tab out.
Okay.
I couldn't because I have ridiculous nails. And then
oh, I can't even pull the tab out.
Oh, come on. You can figure it out. Oh my god, I can't even turn this stupid thing on.
I need an adult.
Yeah. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that?
I don't know. You're the adult in the relationship. Figure it out.
Okay, do you want to go get some of the real candles that are over there? Because I don't think these are bright enough anyways.
Oh, ow.
Careful. Oh my God. How much pumpkin did you get all over the floor?
That's your fault.
No, no. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, don't eat that, Wolfgar. Come on. Yeah, that's fine. Just bring a lighter over as well.
Do you have a lighter here?
Yeah, there should be some on the table at the very end. Wolfgar, leave it. Sage got pumpkin all over the floor, so Wolfgar is trying to eat it now and knocking everything over in the process, because that's what happens when you have a gigantic fucking dog. Come on, buddy, stop. No, you're gonna knock the lights over now, please.
Wolfgar.
Be good.
Come here, buddy.
Yeah, it's. I've always found it scary when I'm actually the adult in a relationship. Like that's wrong. Are you having a hard time finding lighters?
Yes.
It's right. It's at the very end where I usually sit. There's a bunch. There's also some nail polish. It should be amongst that shit.
Oh,
So.
okay. It was underneath all of
Oh, okay, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see if Wolfie will join us on camera in a minute. So, all right. Here, you give me these. And do you want to turn out the lights for us? And we'll see how the pumpkins are. Just, yeah, don't trip over the, oh, put the candle out. There. There. Let's see.
Start here.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, I forgot to mark my lid about which way it goes. Hi, Wolfie. Yes, I love you too, buddy. The dog is plopped his head in my lap right now. I just have the very classic. Oh, okay. Let's bring those into the frame. There's mine. And there's Sage's. And I think we need less light. All right. I'm going to hide behind the pumpkins. Yeah, yours is way better than mine. All right, what do you guys think? Sage's pumpkin or my pumpkin? It's okay to vote for him. His is better. Let's see. Oh, unicorn for Halloween. Awesome. All right, there we go. So let's see. Yeah, Sage's is better. It's okay. I could admit, definitely. He's the artist, so. All right, let's no, I've got this silly useless dollar store one. That didn't work out very well. Let's flick the lights back on and we will just that one. Just this. Just do it.
Oh, you're busting my balls.
He likes to try to. Hello, white screen. There we go. Figure out the white balance. He likes to try to make me feel guilty whenever I tell him to do stuff.
That is not true.
It's very true. Oh, you don't have to turn those ones on.
Oh, it's okay. I must.
There we go. All right, let's get these guys out of the way. Did we want to have our adult beverage?
Our adult beverage?
Yeah, we were going to have an adult beverage with you guys. And then we'll...
Do you want ice?
No, I don't need any ice.
So we've got it.
No name cola. And what do we have here? Yeah. Kraken. Yeah, black spiced rum. I think this is overproof rum, isn't it? Yeah. A little bit. So I don't know if we're allowed to drink on YouTube. Is that a thing? There you go. All right. My pumpkin seems very happy, and they like the syringe. Yeah, yeah. I like I said, I just went for classic because I don't have the artistic ability that Sage does. He is the talented artist. I'll make sure to include some links for his social media as well. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, which you totally should, you get lots of pictures of Wolfgar. Not a lot else, but lots of pictures of Wolfgar. You know. All right, we'll see you guys later. Whoever all is leaving. Yeah, Sage is a little bratty. We enjoy it. It's a good dynamic.
You have to pick the time when to be bratty, right?
Okay, yeah, actually, Jordan was just saying, can you please explain to me the difference between being bratty and being too much of a brat? How Dom should handle it. So there's no direct answer, right? It's going to be different for everybody. Some Doms, some tops do not like brats at all. Others don't mind.
I find, you know what? It's just like making those little comments. I don't know. You kind of got to pick your battles, right? It's just kind of doing it when like the moment's right. Like if there's a serious time and there's things that need to get done, well, then maybe that's not the best time to do it. But if you're like kind of like in a setting where you're like, you know, shooting the shit and joking and stuff, like, well, it doesn't matter, right? Because
I think one of the best times to be bratty is when you're doing like pain play. You should always be bratty when you're doing pain play, just because I don't know. To me, and you should. There's no ever like there's no you should always or whatever. But for me, I like doing pain play with brats because I'm going to hurt them more, and that's sort of a way to communicate a bit in play where they can be like they do something bratty and I hit them harder or whatever. So that can be a lot of fun. I really enjoy that particular dynamic. And we don't, again, I'm not a big protocol person. I'm not a very serious BDSM person. Like I take BDSM seriously because it's so important to me and it's like a huge portion of my life. But I look at it as, yeah, it should be fun. I want to enjoy it. And so I don't mind some bratty. Now, that said, I have, my own safe word, if you will. And that's usually when, if I'm not in the mood or whatever, I will, and he knows this, I'll be like, okay, that's enough. And that's my, like, you are pushing me in a way that I don't want to be pushed. And it's basically the equivalent of like a safe word for dominance towards brats is just saying, hey, I've had enough. Stop it. So, but yeah, I think otherwise, like you really have to feel it out, figure out in your particular situation what is going to work and what won't. It's tough. Mm-hmm. But, and again, not everyone's going to like it. So definitely something to talk about in the beginning. If you do tend towards bratty behavior or if you enjoy that, but I've always enjoyed banter back and forth with my partners. Like that's just something I always enjoy. But it's a fine line to walk, I think, for a lot of people, because it is really easy to just take that one step too far and end up pissing your partner off. So,
that's one thing to just have some fun, but it's another thing to be an asshole, right? So
it's kind of like, pretty much. And yes, the rum is quite good. If I drink, which is rare, I drink either rum or single malt scotch. I'm a snob. Or beer. I do drink beer occasionally as well, but only stouts usually. Yes, Dave, I'm going to be teaching at the Everything to Do with Sex show. And if you guys, again, I'll mention it again, if you are in the Toronto area and you want to go to the show and you don't want to have to pay for it, go to my website, msmorganthorne.com, and sign up for the contest. I'm going to extend it till tomorrow. I was going to pick the winners tonight. We're going to extend it till tomorrow because stuff didn't get posted on my social media. But you can win free tickets to the Everything to Do with Sex show if you sign up on my website. So definitely do that. And yes, I will be there. Please stop by my booth. I will be right beside the community dungeon. So we are getting all set to go there. It'll be fun. We'll have my books and Sage's art for sale, and you can come and take pictures and whatever else. Just hang out, chat, ask questions, whatever.
Come say hi.
Yeah, come say hi for sure. Bite. That's debatable. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And as Steph is pointing out here, you know, some people don't tolerate brattiness very well, and that's totally fine. If you listen to me tell it, I will say, oh, I don't like brats, and then I always end up dating brats, and I enjoy it. But there are very specific times that I'm willing to do it, and there are very specific things. I think that there's that fine line between, you know, poking fun and being disrespectful. And if I feel that my partner is being disrespectful of me, especially like in a public setting or at a play party, or where I just feel like they need to, you know, show a little bit more, I guess, respect, then that will piss me right off. And that's when my, you know, teacher voice and that's enough comes out and everything else. So, or we'll talk later. That's the, like, you've gone beyond what I'm willing to deal with, and now you're in trouble when we get in private. So I don't think I've ever had to we'll talk later with you.
No.
For being bratty. Yeah, no. You're usually pretty good at figuring out that
again, it's just time and place.
Yeah,
time and place, and like reading how people are doing it. Like, I don't know. I like joking with my friends and stuff, you know, kind of doing that. But again, there's the time and place and how you read their reactions and be like, oh, they didn't really like that, and I was kind of just doing it to have a little bit of fun and be funny, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So well, Sharon, as you see, sometimes when I tell him to do things, I get a whatever as well. It's if he does them while rolling his eyes and saying whatever, then I'm okay. If he doesn't do the thing, that's when I get upset. But yeah, it's I mean, again, it's a very individual thing, right? Whether you enjoy it, enjoy that kind of dynamic or not. Like it's tough. Oh, Jordan likes being a brat. Because he gets my dom worked up and punishes me more aggressively. Yeah, I think that's absolutely a valid thing. You know, we like to call those punishments because, yeah, like you have that banter back and forth. And like I was saying before, it can be a like, oh, come on, hit me harder kind of thing. So it's a good way to play like that for me. For other people, not so much, but you know, that's part of finding a compatible partner, right? We have to, those little things. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Yeah. A lot of people, Gil saying drawn to brats, but it's how you handle them and when to cut them off. And they know by your tone. Absolutely. Like I said, I get my like teacher voice. I'm not that I've ever was like, other than in BDSM, I was never a teacher or anything, like not a school teacher, but I think I do it pretty well. So yeah. Oh yes, Jordan, the look. Like, I don't think I give you the look sometimes of like, that's enough without saying it, you know. It's fun though. Yes, Steph, for sure. So yeah, he likes to stick my dreads through my earrings.
Score!
Yeah, he does this all the time. Thanks, dear. I'm trying to read a serious question here, and you're sticking dreadlocks through your.
You were distracted. I took.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I'm trying to read somebody's question. No. Okay, so I think that I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name there. Elvis, perhaps. I'm not positive. I'm sorry if I butchered it. Yeah, but asking about like talking about sort of struggling with submission, and I think that that's totally normal. I think that especially when we're new to BDSM, we have an idea of what a submissive is. And a lot of that comes from media, right? So the media will often portray submissives as like weak or like worthless worms if you watch like a lot of the femdom porn. But I think that we kind of get that stuck in our heads, that to submit is to be weak, and that nothing could be further from the truth. Submissives, and all of the submissives I know are incredibly strong people. I think that it actually takes a lot. We live in a world that encourages us to always take charge and all that kind of stuff. So I think it can be, and especially if you happen to identify as a man, or as, masculine of center, then there's even more pressure to be, the one in charge and to be strong and all that kind of stuff. And we've set up this false dichotomy of like, you can either be strong or you can be submissive. And that's bullshit, right? Like, you can be strong and submissive at the same time. And I think that when I see people struggling with that, and you are absolutely not alone in struggling with that. It happens to men, to women, to non-binary people, to everybody. You have to keep reminding yourself, and just like, say it over and over and over again until you believe it. I've talked about faking it till you make it before, but like, just really believe and keep saying it until you do believe that submission takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot to be able to, endure. For instance, if you are also a bottom, to endure pain, or to, say, hey, I have found somebody that I respect so much that I want to give them authority over my life, and to follow those kind of orders, and to sacrifice parts of yourself for your partner, if that's, the type of dynamic that you're in. I think that takes a lot of strength. And like I said, every submissive I know is incredibly strong. Like, they're all very strong people. So just keep trying to remind yourself of that. I also suggest getting out to the community where you can meet, if you haven't already, where you can meet other submissives and see that what I'm telling you is the truth. It's one thing to listen to some woman on the internet. It's another thing to see it with your own eyes. And, also I always like to point out that, like, I don't think anyone would ever accuse someone like Sage of being weak. He's big, he's got all those big muscles and stuff. But he's submissive. Well, he's a switch, but, which means part of the time he is submissive. So yeah, like, it's okay. And like I said, I just think that there's a lot of strength in that. But it's hard. And I understand. To a certain extent, obviously, I'm not submissive, so I can't understand that particular situation. But I can understand struggling with a part of your identity that, often society tells you is wrong or not worthy of whatever. But just know that, yeah, like, first off, I think it takes a lot of strength to be submissive. And, those of us on the opposite side of the slash really appreciate people that are in touch with themselves enough to admit it, because those are the partners we're looking for, right? So, got a whole bunch of brats here. There you go. See, Gil is saying the same thing here. It takes a lot to be a submissive, and as a male, it's the media and BS porn. They are stronger than most people know, and I respect my submissive empaths. Absolutely, Gil. I will drink to that. It really takes a lot. And are the mugs made of tin? What are these? I know there's some plastic here.
Well, I think this is like a.
Well, that's like aluminum there.
Aluminum, yeah. But this is like a resin kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like
not tin.
Yeah, because see, like, you got part of it missing there, so it's
it's
like a resin cast thing.
I'm one of those like squirrel kind of people sometimes, so don't mind me.
Value Village. Yeah, Value
Village. Do they have Value Village in the States? Is that a thing, or is that a Canadian thing? I don't know. Americans,
I know they have Goodwill.
Tell me, do you guys have Value Village? Yeah, we saw Goodwill. Yeah. We don't have Goodwill anymore. Yeah. They shut down. Oh, Steph, great advice. Be authentic and aware and confident, for sure. Yeah. And yes, very cool mugs. We wanted to, these are like all throughout the year mugs. Like, people come over for, like, say, Christmas, and he gives them these mugs. But we figured that it was appropriate for Halloween. really, honestly, in our house, Halloween is like all the time. So, oh, Value Village is owned by Walmart. I did not know
really?
that. I did not know that.
Interesting. That is, I probably will never use that information, but it's good to know.
No, it's always interesting to know
Yeah,
these
for
things.
sure.
I don't know, but yeah, so that would mean they would be pretty much anywhere.
Yeah,
Theoretically,
anywhere that
Walmart is,
yeah.
which is everywhere.
But you know what was surprising about Walmart though, when we were in the States? We didn't trip over them like we do here in Canada.
Yeah. So okay, that was like something that we kind of noticed, like totally not BDSM related, but in when we were in Ohio, I wanted to go to Walmart because I wanted to see what Halloween stuff they have, because
it was makeup.
It was mostly makeup.
It was makeup.
But also because I love watching Graveyard Girl, and she had done all kinds of like, Walmart hauls and stuff like that of Halloween shit, because you guys know she loves Halloween so much. So I was like, oh, Walmart in Canada doesn't have that much stuff. I want to go to Walmart in the States and see what they have. And we had a hard time finding one. Also, I wanted to buy makeup because there's stuff that I can get in the States that I can't get up here, or that I can get in Canada if I'm willing to pay just as much in shipping as the makeup itself would cost.
But you know what? It probably balanced itself out, because their Walmarts are like twice the size of the ones we have here.
They were also much bigger than the ones we have here.
Yeah, so. They're huge.
Yeah, we were
I got lost.
We were spending time in the States there, and just being like, it's like sort of like the Twilight Zone, where things are very similar to home but not quite. So the drive-through beer store, the Walmart's not being everywhere, and it was really hard to find. Okay, I drink tea. I drink hot tea, because apparently you have to specify, because everyone kept trying to give me sweet tea, and I think sweet tea is like iced tea, but it's not what I have. So I want like a cup of boiling water with a tea bag in it, and then a splash of milk,
Yeah.
And that was really hard to find when we were in the States. And
some people looked at me like I had two heads.
Yeah. I sent him out for tea, and they think he was nuts. But I think it's the British influence on Canada, and certainly, in my family we have some Brits. So yeah, it's awesome. Okay, I'm just like, oh, okay. So when Value Village started to sell new stuff, that's when that was about the turnover when Walmart purchased them.
Okay, cool.
That's interesting. Thank you, Steph. Like I said, I like these little trivia things. So yeah, Gil, the iced tea in the States is weird. I don't know. I'm sorry, Americans. I love you guys, but y'all got some weird stuff going on down there. I don't understand it. And I'm still saying y'all from being in the States. Oops. I like, you notice these things, you're like, oh no, I'm not making fun of people. It was just, you're around them enough, you start saying it. So all right. So does anybody else, we've been about an hour and a half. So I'm thinking that, if you guys have any other questions, I'd love to answer them. And, oh, here we go. Question to the brat. You. What do you get out of what do you get the most out of being dominant or being submissive? Like, what do you find is more fulfilling, I suppose?
That's tough, because I right now, to be fair, like I'm still exploring being dominant and doing the switch kind of thing, but it's very new to me. Like,
well, like
very
literally new. Like what,
a month or so, like
yeah.
that. Like, keep in mind, like I've been looking for a partner for like the past year, but I wasn't really doing or practicing anything in that time, because like I'm not going to practice. I don't have no one to practice on or whatever, right? And then sure enough, the right person came along. We clicked, and just one thing led to another, right? But for me, it's very new, so like I can't really give you an honest answer, because like I have more experience as a submissive, and I've explored way more as a submissive than as a dom. Now, like that being said, there's definitely things that like about both. Like there's been times I'll tell Morgan here being like, oh my God, this is awesome. How, like, what the fuck? Like, I get it. It clicks, right?
He takes like the things that I've done with him and does with his partner, and then is like, oh, I get why you think that's so much fun.
Yeah. So, but like getting back to like, right now, like, you know what, honestly, ask me in like 6 months or a year and I might be able to give you a better answer, but like, I don't really have a definitive, like, oh, I prefer being sub, or I get more fulfillment out of being dom. But like, I can definitely see like the appeal to both, you know, for sure. But yeah, I can't really give you my answer on that at this time.
Yeah. It's a great question, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love when I worked as a pro dom, one of the things that I always do is like, you know, after the session is done and you're just sort of doing the cleanup and, you know, trying to get back to your normal headspace and that, I'd always chat with the people that I had played with. And one of the things I love to ask them is like, how did you get into BDSM? And just hearing the variety of answers was awesome. And I mean, some people were like me, where they just knew that there was something kind of weird about them and they wanted to do this sort of stuff, and it just evolved naturally. And then others would like have like this whole thing where they'd analyze their entire life and found like some trigger from childhood that, you know, started this fetish that led to all this other stuff. So it was always really interesting. And I love sort of trying to understand like the brain side of things, like what makes us the way we are and why we enjoy things, or just really being analytical about it. Like I know some people that's totally, you know, not their thing at all, and they just want to do what they enjoy and be done with it. But I like to overthink everything. I did mention that I have a degree in philosophy, right? Like I like to tear everything apart and look into it all. So
what is your opinion on Craigslist, Kijiji, or sub-dom listings?
Well, so Craigslist, as far as I know, has been shut down now, right?
Yeah. And in Kijiji here, like you can't really...
Is there any dating on it?
No, I've never used it. Otherwise, I probably would have, but I've never seen it. I just...
Yeah, we use Kijiji a lot for like buying and selling stuff, but
yeah.
I don't know.
By the way,
but I mean,
sorry to cut you off there. For like, I find Kijiji's great for like finding like BDSM stuff. Like I found my cross there and I paid $100 for it. Right now, like I'm tempted to actually go and get it. I found stocks with the pillar and everything for like $60 and a spank bench for like another 100. So like, you know, it's great for finding like, if you don't mind used furniture or whatever, it comes up every now and then, you know, rather than having to like find something online and have it shipped to you and be fisted on shipping and customs or whatever, right? So that I don't know, I've had lots of like awesome success buying like stuff off Kijiji with that stuff.
As far as like dating stuff, I'm still working on we did the one review on that one site and that didn't then they kind of went downhill. I think when Craigslist shut down, a lot of people went to FetLife and went to other like BDSM dating things because there's this perception that kinky people are easy or whatever. So I'm still investigating dating apps and sites, and I'm gonna let you guys know what I find on that stuff. But and please, if you guys have any good ones that you're aware of, let me know, and then we can you know, definitely talk about those on the channel and share them with others. Because I mean, I'm not actively dating, so it's not something that I'm like, I look for you guys, but I'm not looking for myself. So it's, you know, I'm not doing it all the time, but I did want to point out Shanna, I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names, but saying it's okay, we think y'all are weird too. It's like that weird cousin that you love but don't understand. That is totally, I think you have summed up the relationship between Canada and the States perfectly. Like I think that we've nailed it there. I just had to throw that in because I thought it was amusing. Yeah, so but definitely we'll keep up talking and looking into dating sites for sure. All right. Louis or Lewis, I never know how to say that one, wants to know what our sexualities are. I am asexual and pan-romantic. So that means that I don't feel sexual attraction towards pretty much anybody, but I do have romantic involvement with people of all genders. So, you know, men with women, with trans people, with non-binary people, with whatever. I don't really care about a person's gender or their genitals. Neither of those things matter to me. I care about, you know, what a person is, but that's a lot easier to say when you're not necessarily going to engage in sexual activities. And then I'm also a dominant and a top and a sadist and all that, which is, I think, inherently sort of connected to those types of identities. And then yourself, you are straight.
Yeah.
He's straight. Yeah, and switch, and that's about it. We don't need to actually explain your sexuality, which must be nice, gotta say.
I'm pretty plain Jane that way.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it must be nice to not have to explain your identities to people, and not that anybody here needs an explanation, but just that I'm used to giving those kind of explanations to people when they look at me weird when I say I'm asexual. But yeah. So let's see. Yeah, FetLife is having a hard time. Definitely. And again, I think it's a lot to do with like all the refugees from, not genuine refugees, but refugees from Craigslist.
Yeah, no, like up until like I met my partner and stuff, like I was on like all the, you know, somewhat local like groups and stuff, and like I would be like, am I the only, like it would either be like there would be a lot of other guys posting ads, but like I felt like some of them weren't like genuine. Like, you know how like for anyone who's actually gone on the purse ads, you know what's a good ad and what's bad, like kind of like,
well, there's the ones that are like
suck my dick, come over.
I'm the domliest dom that ever domed, but their only interests are like blowjobs and sex.
And I mean like and their and their
things.
ad is maybe like you know this big of a paragraph, right? So and then I found that there was a ton of, you know, people looking for unicorns. Like that was the biggest thing, especially like in the very personal groups ads thing there. It was tons of like, oh, looking for a third, must be, you know, bi female.
You got him started ranting about dates.
Yeah, no, it's it was frustrating because I check every so often, you know, and I put a lot of effort into my ad. But keep in mind, because I put a lot of effort into my ad, I actually did have some success, and I actually had people comment me and contact me about being like, hey, you know, great ad, you know, it put a lot of effort in, you know. So it does help to actually sit down and take maybe, you know, an hour or so to write that out and, you know, lay out what you're looking for. But yes, sorry, I'm going on a rant.
That's okay. I'm just going to eat some candy. Also, Kara wanted to know what our favorite Halloween candy is. Mine is definitely like these little rocket things. I really like them. I don't know why. It's such a silly thing, but I love them. What do you like Halloween candy wise?
I don't know. It's all good. Like I'm a fat kid at heart. I never found a pudding I didn't like. So
seriously, I love to cook, right? So I cook in our household, and anything I put in front of him, he's like, oh, this is great. I love it. I love it. I think in 3 years, there's been one thing that I made that he didn't like, but it wasn't very good. It was like one of those like, oh, I found a recipe. Let's try it out and see if it's any good. And that was the only thing he didn't like. Everything else, he's like, oh yeah, this is great. So trying to nail down any kind of favorite food for him is a bloody nightmare because he'll eat anything, like at all. I really should have tried to feed you those crickets in Mexico, though. I don't know. In parts of Mexico, it's a very popular sort of thing, and apparently they taste really good. But I went with the I'm a vegetarian excuse, and I did not eat the crickets because it freaked me out a little bit. I'll be honest. I'm a picky eater. So
Gil says I rock.
Oh,
Thank you, Gil.
awesome.
It's much appreciated.
He's learning to, like, you know, check the chat here. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of sort of friendly rivalry and back and forth between Canada and the US. And yeah, it's I don't know. I think that deep down we really love each other because our countries are so connected, but we also really like to pick on each other and whatnot. So but yes, Steph, you're absolutely right. Fat Life is full of people looking to hook up, and it's just yeah, it's been since the 50 Shades thing, and it's been since Craigslist Personals shut down. Those are the two things that really yeah. Oh yeah, people looking for sugar daddies or just scammers in general. Unfortunately, I mean, I think because it's not intended to be a dating site, they don't monitor things like that as much. But Gil actually mentioned something earlier that was really important, which is going to Munches and joining your community. Now, Munches, of course, are not a dating thing specifically, but they are a good place to meet other kinky people. And once you've met other kinky people, then, you know, you can find partners or find people who are like, oh, you know, oh, I know someone who would be perfect for you and blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, I know that I've dated some people, some submissives, where they weren't for me. They like, we just didn't click or whatever, but they were really great people. And so I would try to set them up with my friends because they were awesome and I wanted them to, you know, meet people and have fulfilling relationships, but they just weren't for me. So you'll find that happens a lot within the BDSM community. Some of us can be busybodies, but it's all, you know, with the right intentions, I hope. But yeah, so thank you, Alice. Happy Halloween. Did I get the candy trick-or-treating? No, I am just a little too old for trick-or-treating. They usually cut it off around like 10 or 12 here in Canada.
I don't know. You could probably pass as a
I could
child.
Probably pass as quite young.
Yeah,
I do all the time. But yeah, no, we just bought the candy in case kids showed up at the door, mostly because I wanted candy too.
Also, it's way easier to just like wait until the first and then go to Walmart or somewhere and buy get all like on clearance at like 50 or 75% off.
You guys know what I'm doing tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, Steph likes rockets. Awesome. And Gil likes Sage. That's awesome. Everybody seems to like him. I love having Sage in my videos. It's hard because he, you know, works a lot. But we'll definitely have him out if you guys enjoy hearing his perspective. And perhaps in the future we'll drag your partner out as well. Your other partner out. We'll see. I don't know if she's watching. If she is, we'll have you out sometime. So, oh, the Halloween these guys there. I don't know if you can see those. I love those too. They're awesome. Oh, Alan ate a scorpion in China once. I don't know how to feel about that. I really like scorpions. I couldn't eat one though. Again, I'm gonna plead vegetarian. It's a really good excuse not to eat any food that just creeps you out in general. But that, you know, he says it was tasty. That works. Let's see. Yeah. So Steph is mentioning something about, like, you know, dropping out of the community for a while and then not recognizing it. And that happens to a lot of people. We do that quite often. I know I've taken steps back from my community. I've been involved for a little more than 20 years, give or take, you know, within my various communities. And sometimes that's been really like in your face as like organizing parties and munches and stuff like that. And then sometimes it's just being like, okay, well, I'll go out to an event every now and then, and that's about it. So it's interesting to see how things change and evolve over time. I'd like to at some point do like a bit of a nostalgia type video and tell you guys about how the community was in the 90s when I first started. And I mean, like, maybe I can get a few of my friends that have been around much longer than me to tell you about how things were in, like, you know, the 80s or the 70s or the 60s, like, because I have friends that have been around in the community for all kinds of time. But yeah, it's interesting to see the way the community has evolved. One of the great things that I've seen has been like this major emphasis on consent. It was always there, but it's like really intense now, and I love that. So
I don't know. It's just I feel things are more enjoyable when everyone's on board and consenting to it.
Gil says I can pass as 15.
Yes.
I like Gil. My new best friend right there.
I don't actually like that at all, to be quite honest. Like, no.
So when we were in Ohio, I was chatting with some people.
Oh yeah. No.
Sage is 12 years younger than me. Yeah. And
I'm a millennial.
Yeah, so. He's a millennial. I'm a Gen Xer. So I was chatting with a few of the ladies, and I said something about him being, like, you know, more than a decade younger, and they were like, "We thought you were the younger one."
Thanks, honey. Now people are going to be like, "Oh, that's why he wears the mask. It's because he looks older than he actually is." Yeah, no.
He does not look old. But I was like, "Oh, that's so nice for me." Not so much for you.
Yeah, thanks, honey.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
If somebody scares you, will you kick them in the nuts? Only with consent, and only if they're nice to me. That's my general rule. I will not reward poor behavior unless that's the game we're playing. So,
do we get any trick-or-treaters, and who greets the door? No, we don't get any trick-or-treaters.
Oh, a few people who do BDSM info on YouTube, maybe Morgan can have some suggestions. Absolutely. You guys saw I did a collab with Brittany Simon. She's awesome. I really like Brittany. I love What's the Safe Word and WATTS. It's Amp and Bolt, and then they have a bunch of other people like Mr. Christopher on, and they are absolutely fantastic. I love them. They have a lot of really good info, and especially really good info for like the gay male scene. And then Evie Lupine does some really cool stuff. She's really into like pet play, and she does a bunch of stuff like that. So there's a few out there that are really good. I don't know of any others, like, not because they don't exist, only because I haven't found them yet. So if you guys have good suggestions for kinky BDSM YouTubers, please let me know, because I want to check out as many people as possible. Maybe we'll do some collabs, stuff like that. So yes, his arms are huge. I have a very, very specific type when it comes to male identified people, and I like big arms and big shoulders and big legs, and yeah, I like muscles. It's a thing. So all right, I'm just kind of like glancing over. No trick-or-treaters for us. Oh, jeez. Once my mom was mistaken as her ex-girlfriend's daughter. Well, the mom was 7 years older. Yep, it happens. Oh, Sexplanations. Thank you, Alan. That is another excellent channel. They talk about sex in general, but they have done a bunch of stuff about BDSM, and I absolutely love Sexplanations. Fantastic channel for sure. Oh, Master Arcane. Okay, I have not seen Master Arcane. But if Brittany is suggesting them, then I'm going to have to check them out, because I do appreciate her viewpoints and her suggestions. So fantastic. Yeah, What's the Safe Word for sure. I love those guys. They're hilarious. Oh, Milkwebs into DDLG. So Daddy Dom Little Girl. Perfect. Awesome, guys. Like, you've got all these great things. So I am actually going to wrap things up, guys, because it's been 2 hours. We need to have some dinner, or at least I do. And it's probably like getting close to his bedtime because he's got like a normal job. I sleep till noon. Anyways, guys, I want to say thank you very much for checking out the live stream here. Sorry that I haven't been posting as much recently. Hopefully I'm gonna get back into the groove of things. I've got a lot of stuff that has been recorded. I just need to edit and post. So thank y'all for like sticking around and hanging out with me tonight. It's, you know, I didn't have any plans for Halloween, and so I wanted to spend it with you guys, and it's been an amazing night because of that. So thank you. So we will see you guys later. Now we have to try to stand up to hit the button here. So, and we'll do lots more live streams. All right, guys, bye.